Thank you very much for joining our event entitled for the enhancement of the implementations of Article 6 through synergy and optimization of the capacity building and private investment. My name is Kentaro Takahashi. I'm Deputy Director of the Office of the Carbon Market of the Ministry of the Environment Japan, and I will be the moderating for today's event. So please note this event is recorded and broadcasting via online. In this event, we will first have the welcome remarks and followed by photo sessions. So we have a presentation on the launch of the Article 6 implementation status report. Then we will have a keynote statements from our partner country, as well as our partner organizations. We would like to welcome Minister Asao Keiichiro, Minister of the Environment Japan, to deliver the opening remarks. Minister Asao, you have the floor.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed representatives of international organizations, and honored guests. Good afternoon. My name is Asao Keiichiro, if you call it from the last name first. If you call it from the first name, it's Keiichiro Asao, whatever. I'm Minister of the Environment of Japan. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this event. UNCCC secretaries, along with all other distinguished ministers and representatives here today, thank you for joining us in this collaborative effort to build high integrity carbon markets that will be pivotal in achieving our global climate goals. In our collective journey toward net zero, Article 6 of Paris Agreement is an essential component. Its potential impact by 2030 is significant. Preliminary estimates indicate that it may lead to an additional reduction of up to 12 billion tons of carbon dioxide each year. About 150 countries have expressed interest in pursuing collaborative approaches in alignment with Article 6, through their nationally determined contributions. As we gather here for COP29, we realize that optionalizing Article 6 remains a critical agenda item. Under President Babayev's capable leadership, I am committed to actively contributing to the high-level ministerial discussions starting today. Japan's Ministry of Environment launched the Paris Agreement Article 6 implementation partnership at COP27. This is the picture that was taken back then. As part of this partnership, cooperative approaches are being advanced throughout the world. To date, it has engaged 81 countries along with other 170 organizations and private sector entities to widen the circle of Article 6 activities. Article 6 is more than a mechanism for trading emission reductions. It strives to promote collective action, raise an ambition, and accelerate progress toward net zero. As a prerequisite to success under Article 6, countries engaged in a cooperative approach must maintain high standards for environmental integrity throughout the planning, implementation, and monitoring process. Accurate recording and reporting to the UNFCCC are essential, requiring high levels of awareness, technical knowledge, and operational expertise. However, this journey can be managed. Through collaboration and shared learning, we can improve our collective knowledge and skills. As part of capacity building initiatives sponsored by Ministry of Environment of Japan and managed by IGES and A6IP Center, offers diverse programs that bring together governments and international organizations. Additionally, we are working to create synergies with the joint crediting mechanisms, which Japan operates with 29 other countries. Today, we have the opportunity to hear about the forefront of A6IP's work, sharing insights and experiences. Through these presentations, I am hopeful that we will identify new pathways and address the remaining challenges for Article 6 to move forward. May today's seminar serve as a catalyst for each of us in our shared commitment to net zero. Thank you for your participation, and I look forward to our continued collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, opening remarks, Minister Asao. Now I would like to ask all distinguished guests to come up to the stage for the group photo. So please come to the front. Thank you very much for joining the photo sessions. Now we are moving to the session of the launch of the Article 6 Implementation Status Report. We would like to welcome Kazuhisa Koakutsu, Director of the Article 6 Implementation Partnership Center, to present. Mr. Koakutsu, you have the floor.
Oh, good afternoon, distinguished ministers and our guests and our partners. My name is Article 6. Actually, my name is Article 6, but also Kazuhisa Koakutsu. I'm the director of Article 6 Implementation Partnership. Since I'm really involved in negotiation process, now I'm really wanted to put this Article 6 rule into practice to really deliver our ambition. So for this, we started Article 6 Implementation Partnership in 2022, and then we are now having the center to really supporting the capacity building for the countries to implement. So let me introduce the Article 6 Implementation Status Report. Article 6 Implementation Status Report, we try to incorporate, now we have 81 partner countries we are working with to strengthen our cooperation between developing countries, developed countries, as well as all the organizations together to support implementation. So for this, we really need to understand what is the current status of Article 6. So we conducted our survey and also created a country fact sheet to bring everything together to understand where we are. So that's I wanted to report. Sorry, some technical issues. Hopefully we can solve. Okay, coming back. So this is just a snapshot of where we are, and then we will start launching this Implementation Partnership Report. We can provide you the website and then all the QR code, but just to where we are. So based on our partnership, out of 69 countries have now taken authorization arrangement in place. Out of 69 countries are now authorization place. This is a one requirement under Article 6 to provide authorization. And 9 out of, but same time, we still see a limited countries are providing tracking arrangement, which is a registry, as well as the initial report submitted. So this means parties are interested, but still we need to really put this in practice. Next, please. So now there are a growing number of parties engaged in bilateral cooperation, such as now we see 89 bilateral agreements among all the world between 58 parties. And we have also seen ongoing projects coming out. So these are all new projects. These are new engagements. And also 95 parties have submitted the Article 6.4 designated national authorities, which is also encouraging that parties are now engaging Article 6.4. And we see also the project being requested for transition, 1,400 projects being now requested. And also we see that it's already parties are approving those projects. Again, those are real projects, and also parties are cooperating. And next slide, please. And also, if you're looking at also the private sector is also engaging into the more decarbonizing projects. And now we see under the independent standard, private sector also we see 9,000 projects in the pipeline. We have seen the VCS gold standard. They have also increasing their project pipeline in a way that reflects the private sector is also interested in providing more finance to those which are much, much more required. So this we really need to express the interest from private sector. But at the same time, they also intend to use for the Article 6 towards our ambition. Next slide, please. So now we are also seeing growing number of capacity building happening. Of course, including us, but also World Bank, UNFCCC Secretariat, many countries are putting forward. So now, based on our survey, around 3 capacity building per country. And also 37 organizations are providing support for the carbon market, the capacity building, and also initiatives being now at least 67. So we see a growing number of capacity building. I think the question now is how we can coordinate those efforts in a way to really push ourselves to accelerate implementation. Next slide, please. So now this is the last slide that I wanted to show you. So now we see a growing number of parties, as mentioned by our minister, really interested in engaging cooperative approaches to enhance ambition. 78%. This is coming from the latest UNFCCC report, which mentioned about 168 parties are mentioning Article 6. This is extraordinary. We need to really make this happen so that 2025, which is a critical year for our enhanced ambition, we really need to enable their interest into practice so that we can enhance NDC. So I think this is the opportunity that Article 6 brings to us. So we are really updating those information to enable all the parties where we are and what kind of support is needed. And Article 6 implement partnership together with all the partners, as well as our collaboration institutions to really make this happen, including government, including private sector, including NGO, to really bring ourselves to us forward. So 2025 is a really critical year to bring us forward. So let me introduce this Article 6 implementation status report website. You can actually access to this website, and which we have this kind of a map. It's an interactive map. So if you can just point to the country, you can actually see exactly what is happening in the capacity building program, as well as what is the status of Article 6 implementation. For example, which country has arranged authorization status? Which country has arranged the tracking recording arrangements? Which country has submitted initial report, submitted regular information? We are compiling all these detailed information on the ground. So you can actually see this information, and still it is not enough. So we can really enhance and strengthen this effort. So we hope that this report really brings everybody together, and we are really updating this. This is the website, so we will update every time we have updates. And then we are intended to make annual reports so that we can also provide before COP or during COP what is happening in the implementation Article 6. So with that, thank you so much, and looking forward to our remarks from ministers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Akazu, Article 6 man. And it's a really very interesting presentation. And also, I think it's very, I think it's moving forward for further implementation of the Article 6. So now we would like to move to the next session. We would like to have a message from the partner country. First, we would like to invite Excellency Stefan Wenzel, Parliament State Secretary for the Federal Ministry of the Economic Affairs and Climate Action Germany, to deliver the speech. So you have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear Minister, dear Excellencies. First of all, let me say thank you very much for the kind invitation to this nice pavilion, and also for the presentation of the data from a lot of countries you already collected and put together for further information. As I joined the launch of the Article 6 implementation partnership in Sharm el-Sheikh 2 years ago, personally, let me appreciate the progress the implementation partnership made in those last 2 years. For Germany, this partnership is a very good platform for general capacity building and the communication countries needs for creating and progressing an ambitious national determined contributions, the so-called NDCs. Having said this, I want to stress that trading of emission certificates is not a goal in itself. It is simply an instrument. The umbrella paragraph, Article 6.1, says that carbon markets are an instrument to raise ambition, which parties can use voluntarily to support stronger NDC commitments. To implement Article 6 in a way that becomes reality, we have to ensure the following. Environmental integrity and transparency came first. Information on mitigation activities must be clear. Inconsistencies must be corrected. We cannot allow to transfer mitigation outcomes, which leads to overestimation of ITMOs, which is nothing else but double counting. The process must be inclusive for all parties which want to use the Article 6. And this is the place where capacity building comes in. Let me highlight the role of the Article 6 implementation partnership, but also of national support activities of developed countries. Germany, for example, has several support programs with partners like GIZ, World Bank and UNFCCC, but also our flagship support programs with GGGI, together with German and international companies and organizations. We have also built a community of practice where we are organizing an exchange on experiences and knowledge tools. Furthermore, we support young academia researchers in partner countries. Last point, we need to see the impact of the Article 6 cooperation in the host countries. Speaking transparently about positive outcomes, transition of host countries zero can help avoid greenwashing activities on the one side, which is important for the technical operation of environment integrity. On the other side, host parties must know what the benefits of Article 6 cooperation are. Therefore, capacity building should take this aspect more into the focus. Let me end with the appreciation of the Japanese work, which we fully further support. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. And next, we welcome Excellency Simon Watts.
Well, konnichiwa, everyone, and welcome along. And it's great to be here. And I acknowledge the Honourable Minister from Japan and the team, the Article 6 team, Mr. Article 6 as well, for the introduction. It's a real pleasure to be here at COP. I am co-facilitating Article 6 negotiations alongside the Minister from Singapore, Grace Fu. And we are making progress and we'll be very much moving into the ministerial phases of that dialogue in the coming hours. So this presentation is very timely. New Zealand has long recognised the value of Article 6 as a tool in order to ensure that we are achieving additional mitigation action and ambition and making sure that that is achievable beyond what is achievable at domestic means only. In doing so, it's crucial that international cooperation enabled by Article 6 delivers high integrity international emissions reductions, which can be used to meet countries' EDCs. The Paris Agreement must drive emissions reductions, which have to be credible and have integrity, and ensure that the broader realisation of our shared goals of limiting temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. New Zealand is committed to developing international cooperation rules that promote transparency and, importantly, integrity, which enables countries to cooperate on mutually beneficial opportunities that enhance global ambition. New Zealand and Japan are both actively engaged in Article 6 negotiations, working together to establish robust rules that enhance transparency to facilitate effective cooperation under the Paris Agreement. New Zealand's current Article 6 engagement focuses on accelerating market readiness by building partner country capacity to develop high integrity markets and, importantly, bring emissions reduction opportunities to market. Examples of Article 6 initiatives currently underway, including New Zealand joining the Global Green Growth Institute Carbon Trading Facility by contributing to the climate finance to the Article 6 Readiness Facility. The Readiness Facility aims to increase technical capacity and strengthen the institutions of host countries to participate in Article 6. New Zealand is also proud to host the New Zealand-led Asia-Pacific Carbon Market Roundtable, which brings together a diverse set and group of countries and jurisdictions across the Asia-Pacific region. And it is focused very much around implementation, market-based mechanisms for climate mitigation. That group fosters the importance of partnerships, facilitates knowledge sharing on market developments, and also hosts technical discussions with a focus on exploring the opportunities of Article 6 cooperation. I want to acknowledge the work that Japan is doing in that leadership role in Article 6, particularly in regards to capacity building and implementation. Japan as a country has been a front runner in advancing cooperation approaches under the Paris Agreement, demonstrating leadership in Article 6 implementation. Through its role as host of Article 6 Implementation Partnership, Japan has shared expertise and resources that have contributed to the development of the Article 6 mechanism. So thank you for that. These efforts have strengthened countries' abilities to engage in high integrity carbon markets, laying the important groundwork for robust and sustainable cooperation. We as New Zealand look forward to reaching consensus on the full operationalization of Article 6, which would be a crucial step in enabling robust international markets. This process is essential, and as countries like Japan are already leading the way by implementing Article 6 projects. Achieving consensus is by no means easy, and hence why we are all here in Azerbaijan. But that importance of reaching that consensus and supporting initiatives such as the A6IP are going to be critical in terms of the milestones. And I think one of the key elements that we will remember about COP here in Azerbaijan. Again, I want to acknowledge Japan's continued leadership in this area. It is and will continue to be instrumental in accelerating the A6IP initiatives and ensuring their successful implementation. Arigato.
Thank you very much, Minister Simon Watts. And next, we would like to invite Nkiruka Madueke, Director General of the National Council of the Climate Change Nigeria. So you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I really want to, good afternoon, Minister. I want to thank Japan for this opportunity to be here and also for inviting Nigeria to be one of the implementation partners. Nigeria joined as with 195 countries to adopt the Paris Agreement. And in addition to that, she has, in her 2021 Climate Change Act, indicated very clearly the role of carbon market pricing, carbon market initiatives as part of the pathways to implementing her NDCs. So Nigeria's engagement with the carbon market is crucial to achieving her NDCs, as the market will leverage financial incentives to reduce emissions, encourage business in strategic sectors, and adopt sustainable innovative technologies and practices. Nigeria intends to incentivize the climate change mitigation through the use of market-based mechanisms like Article 6 and the VZM, voluntary carbon market, to allow governments, businesses, and non-government organizations and local communities to actively participate in the carbon market. The government aims to promote and ensure transparent and credible carbon market activities, ensuring that carbon market continues to contribute meaningfully to the country's NDC and net zero target. And our vision as a country is to establish Nigeria as Africa's leading hub for high integrity carbon market investment, setting the benchmark for climate resilience and socioeconomic development. As a country, we have identified that the Article 6 is very essential to moving our social economic development. And what have we done? As at last year, we developed our carbon market framework. And what we've also done in addition to that is also develop our carbon market policy. What the carbon market policy does is to state clearly Nigeria's vision in terms of to show our would-be investors who Nigeria is with regards to Article 6 and what Nigeria wants with regards to her carbon market. And so the carbon market policy, which we launched at UNGA, says clearly that Nigeria is looking at the voluntary carbon market, Article 6, and also emission trading scheme. What Nigeria has also done as well is also to develop the manual of procedure, which shows very clearly whose role it is to participate in the carbon market. Because for us, it's not just selling carbon credits, but selling high integrity carbon credits and ensuring that the right infrastructure is in place. And that's why I'm happy to speak here today on the capacity building that the implementation 6 being spearheaded by Japan is very critical. I want to use the opportunity to thank Japan for ensuring that one of our staff was very much a part of the training that happened in Japan. Please, Asma, I'll say hi to the crowd. And as Oliver Twist, I would want to ask that it doesn't just stop with one person. One of the things we have seen is that as a country and as an African country, we would want to leverage on partnerships to build capacity, to strengthen capacity, to help us further understand what is this carbon market? How do we ensure that Africa does not shortchange herself in selling low carbon credits? That Africa is able to leverage on this partnership to ensure that she sells carbon credits like you have in the EU system as well. And how do we do this? Knowledge sharing, capacity building. And so I'm very glad that we're having this opportunity, and I'm hoping that this is the beginning of many steps to come, that there'll be more capacity built to further help us understand what needs to be done and how we should do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to invite Excellency Habib Abid, Minister of the Environment of Tunisia, to deliver the statements.
Bonjour, je vais parler en anglais, hein. Mais c'est juste un résumé en français rapidement, c'est plus compréhensible, là. Donc, ça fait un mois, on a initié un projet avec le gouvernement du Japon dans le cadre des partenariats Joint Credit Mechanism. C'est un parc solaire aussi dans plein Sahara du pays. Et ça, c'est grâce à l'article 6 qu'on a fait ce projet. Donc, je vais parler avec mon anglais qui est assez moyen. Donc, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first, I'd like to thank His Excellency, the Minister of Environment of Japan, for this invitation. You know that Tunisia is firmly committed to implement his national determinant contribution, which aims to reduce carbon intensity by 45% by 2030. However, the implementation of Tunisia updated NDC required the mobilization of about $20 billion, including $40 billion for mitigation action. For example, the energy sector is very important for us, which must reduce the carbon intensity for 40% by 2030. Required financing approximately $11 billion. In this context, Tunisia has committed through the NDC to use an innovative climate financing mechanism, particularly those provided by under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Since 2023, Tunisia had developed a strategic vision to prepare the implementation of Article 6. In this context, the joint credit mechanism initiated by Japan has emerged as a one-off solution for us. In this context, Tunisia and Japan signed during the 8th session of TICAD 8 a memorandum of cooperation related to Tunisia participation in the GCM. The creation of the joint committee, whose first meeting was held in June 2023, shared commitment effectively, transparency, implementation of this agreement. On this dynamic, the partnership, we launched 2 flagship projects in this year to produce 120 megawatts of renewable energy in the region of desertic region in Tunisia. The cost of this project is about $18 million. We are currently collaborating with our Japan partner on this project, and we signed a memorandum for this. The work starts since 1 month, and we have now our Japan company who start to work on the desert of Tunisia. You know, the partnership between Tunisia and Japan for the implementation of Article 6, particularly through the GSM, represent for us the first project in Article 6. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we welcome Excellency Sheda Rizwana Hassan, Advisor, Ministry of the Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bangladesh, to deliver the statement. You have a floor.
Thank you. Sincere thanks to the Ministry of Environment, Japan, and the Article 6 Implementation Center for organizing this event and inviting Bangladesh to be part of this Article 6 implementation process. On mitigation, Bangladesh actually emphasizes very seriously so that the global leadership meets the mitigation target. If that does not happen, 1/3 of my country goes underwater, which means that the next generation Bangladeshis will be forced to draw the map of the country differently than how I draw it and how they are now learning in the school to draw it. So it's a very serious consideration for us. Just to give a context that as a signatory to the Paris Agreement, Bangladesh has established a designated national authority as a governing structure for implementing Article 6 mechanism in Bangladesh. We also have established a governing board and have entrusted the Department of Environment as the secretariat for the purposes of Article 6 implementation. Bangladesh has not been able to tap many of the possibilities of the CDM mechanism, but we really look forward that we, in the future, get to play an important role in the implementation of Article 6. Bangladesh has signed an MOU with the government of Japan on 19th March 2013 and has joined the joint crediting mechanism an initiative of the Japanese government based on bilateral cooperative approach for the diffusion of leading decarbonizing technologies, products, systems, services, infrastructure in partner countries. However, our performance in CGM has not been very great. That's why we are very interested in strengthening the partnership. According to the NDC, Bangladesh has conditional commitment of reducing greenhouse gas emission by 61.9 million metric ton by 2030 equivalent. To realize this commitment, Bangladesh needs 141 billion USD finance from international sources. Around 60%, that is 40 million metric ton CO2 equivalent of the NDC conditional commitment could be achieved through Article 6. Now, our request from Bangladesh to the Japanese government would be basically in two areas. One is capacity building and the other one is investment. We express our sincere and deep appreciation to Japan for remaining a key development partner in Bangladesh. We really urge the government of Japan to increase development support towards climate change issues, specifically in renewable energy, decarbonization of industrial process and manufacturing, carbon removal technology, and forestry sector. We would also like to explore private sector investment from Japanese investors in Article 6 projects aligned with our NDC commitment. I must here also emphasize that there is opportunity for investment in some of the community-led mitigation program, be it in the form of forestry management or community-led renewable energy storage and distribution. On capacity building, we emphasize on capacity building and training of government officials, private sector, as well as community. We want that our carbon project experts are included in the development of the different projects and in defining the methodologies. To conclude, I must say that we don't have a very bright picture portrayed before us by the IPCC. What we learn from them is even if all the NDC targets are implemented, the global temperature by the end of this century will rise to anywhere between 2.1 to 2 degrees Celsius. That's not at all good news for countries like Bangladesh. It's our survival issue. So while we emphasize on implementation of Article 6, we also call upon all states to ensure that the burden of mitigation is not only transferred to the mechanisms under Article 6, rather the mitigation actions within the developed countries are properly met, and all countries responsible for having historical responsibility do take ambitious mitigation targets and implement those within their respective territories. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to invite Chris Shipley, Head of the Global Carbon Markets, Department of the Energy Security and Net Zero, United Kingdom. So you have a floor.
Minister, Your Excellencies, thank you very much for the invitation today. Thank you to Director Kazu and the team at the Article 6 Implementation Partnership. And UK ministers send their regards and apologies that they can't be here today. So for the UK, carbon markets have a potentially very important role to play as an ambition-raising tool. And in the UK, we use markets both domestically and internationally so that they can realise more of their potential. At home, we're pricing our own emissions ambitiously through the UK Emissions Trading Scheme. Here in Baku, we're negotiating for outcomes that enshrine environmental integrity and that enable access for the countries that want to use markets in ways that can enhance their mitigation and adaptation ambitions. And internationally, we've made available over £300 million in ODA, Overseas Development Finance, to help those countries that want to access markets to do so. And some examples include Carbon Initiative for Development, which is connecting African communities to cleaner sources of energy and helping them to prepare for Article 6. In TCAF in Uzbekistan, we're supporting innovative methodologies that will credit the effects of energy tariff reform in the power sector. In the Partnership for Market Implementation, we're supporting a range of countries with the institutions and the governance that they would need to access carbon markets. And we're also working with ambitious corporates through initiatives like the LEAF Coalition, which was just last month concluded a deal with the Brazilian state of Pará worth up to $180 million. And yet, as we've seen through the excellent report today, gaps still remain in capacity building. And so I hope that the people here today will take note of the report. And I should declare an interest because I was lucky enough to spend a secondment this summer in Japan, doing a little bit of work on the report with the team there at A6IP, and it's clear that much more has happened. So I think the report will be really useful for at least for the UK as we decide where to focus our attention next. And what we can do to help ensure markets operate with integrity. And it will also be helpful, I'm sure, for other capacity building providers to be able to coordinate their support in ways that ensure it's provided efficiently. Finally, Director Kazu, in opening, mentioned the importance of private sector investment to support these markets. And so I would just draw attention to the UK Voluntary Carbon and Nature Market Principles, which we launched last week, and which we will expand on in the new year in ways that we hope will raise integrity in voluntary carbon markets. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for speaker from partner country. So now I would like to move the next session. So message from the A6IP implementation partners. So we have a very many collaborations and organization from the international organization and also research organization. So we have three distinguished speakers. And so now I would like to invite Daniele Violetti, Senior Director, UNFCCC Secretariat, to statements. So you have a floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Happy to be here on behalf of UNFCCC to say a few words on behalf of our Executive Secretary and starting from the urgency we have in front of us for taking action on climate. And we have to use all the tools we have at our disposal, every partnership, every resource. And therefore, that's why Article 6 and the work associated with Article 6 is so critical. We know that carbon markets and cooperative approaches can be really transformative and helping where there is the need for support to the most vulnerable. And therefore, bringing forward the commitment to achieving sustainable development. We have seen important progress this year on Article 6. We are all looking forward to the end result of Article 6 negotiation here in Baku. We are hopeful that we are finally closing this important pillar of the Paris Agreement and starting to focus only on implementation. If we want to have a success in the implementation of Article 6, there are two important challenges that we need to address. First, we need to build a robust institutional capacity across all regions. And second, we must create the conditions for mobilizing private sector investment at a scale that is needed for this. So that's why we are very keen in working together in enhancing implementation through capacity building. and private sector optimization. We are pleased to announce that the UNSCC Secretariat is strengthening its collaboration with the partnership to enhance country readiness for Article 6 participation, and also trying to reduce the fragmentation of capacity building activities for parties, lower transaction cost, and accelerate the development of high integrity carbon markets. We really think that is marking a concrete steps to make Article 6 mechanisms accessible and effective for all parties. So we have heard some parties providing insights on their experiences, but if we want to be very clear that the early movers in developing a robust Article 6 framework will be better positioned to attract international investment, realize economic co-benefits, and contribute meaningfully to global climate action. And that's really a matter of seizing the opportunity that are coming. And for the private sector partners, of course, your expertise, innovation, and investment are absolutely crucial, and we need your active participation in making this a reality. So, in conclusion, really thanks for the initiative. We are part of that. We want to do more with that, and we look forward to finally having all the process delivering what is needed to move full speed into implementation. Thank you very much for the. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to invite Jennifer Sala, Global Director, Climate Change Group, World Bank, to deliver the message.
So, good afternoon, Minister Sao, Director Kasu, from Japan's Ministry of Environment, and the whole team. I'm delighted also on behalf of the World Bank team to join the session marking the launch of the Article 6 Implementation Status Report by the Article 6 Implementation Partnership Center. I really want to recognize and express our sincere appreciation for the deep partnership that we've built with Japan on carbon pricing and carbon markets, but with so many other countries around the room and colleagues and friends who have been on this journey for quite a long time, for many decades, in fact. Our financial and technical collaboration with Japan, and many of you, goes back over a decade, starting with the Partnership for Market Readiness, PMR, as many of them know, and now evolving into the Partnership for Market Implementation. Through the PMI program, we are now collaborating with over 30 countries on carbon pricing policies and international market readiness, including Article 6 cooperative arrangements and readiness efforts. And what's important is really to see how the countries are stepping up. In Bhutan, we are supporting the development of the country's carbon asset registry, another key market infrastructure. And we helped launch the Bhutan Climate Fund at COP28 to scale demand for carbon credits. Also, we have representatives from Bangladesh, just seeing how we're also supporting them in Article 6, but also in generating the supply of high integrity credits. We're supported by many partners, for example, with the CDEV Carbon Fund, which is focused on emissions reductions from off-grid solar home systems. But importantly, our ongoing work through the A6IP Center is especially significant as momentum builds around operationalizing Article 6. And it's great to see Daniele here, and UFCCC and all the parties. We're delighted to see good progress and very hopeful this week for the successful outcome of the Article 6 negotiations. Everyone's really waiting for that. And with this progress, we also see there's an urgent need to help countries strengthen their domestic capacity to fully engage in Paris-aligned carbon markets. And more countries are looking for support to create legal frameworks, set up institutional structures, and put the right infrastructure in place. And this is exactly what the center is uniquely positioned to tackle these challenges, to bring in all the partnerships and collaboration on these efforts. For that, I congratulate the center for publishing the Article 6 Implementation Status Report and being able to show how many countries are really ready to step up. And since on the World Bank side, since last year when we launched our Carbon Engagement Roadmap, we've made solid progress. We're supporting many others, tackling some technical challenges around global market infrastructure. We're building country capacity. We're continuing to support the creation of high integrity credits, Importantly, also with benefit sharing with indigenous groups and communities, which is very important, the social and integrity. So we're seeing good progress globally. But what we really need and what we hear from our countries now is that there's a need for demand. We really need also to build solid demand side pooling mechanisms that makes the market work for everyone. And this means creating diverse demand channels, pooling and aggregating demand, designing risk mitigation tools. And so also how we can work in partnership with that. So we can really build the capacity on the supply and also bring in the much needed demand and make the market work. So we really thank you all and look forward to continuing to work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to invite next Gareth Phillips, managers on climate and environmental finance, African Development Bank. So you have a role.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and some old carbon market friends. That's the ones with the grey hair in the room. You have to have grey hair to be an old carbon market friend. Kazu still looks very young. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to congratulate the parties made on the progress on Article 6.2 and 6.4. And as we've just heard, we're getting close to the conclusion of the negotiations. And these are expected to bring many mitigation and ambition benefits. I would like to echo my sister from Nigeria on the need for more support for capacity building in Africa. As we saw from the map that Kazu showed, Africa actually is already falling behind on capacity building activities. So we need more support for those. And we know that the market-based activities are necessarily risk-based. The private sector is very risk aware. And unfortunately, that means that Africa is at a disadvantage. Fairly or not, the fact is that Africa currently is a riskier place to undertake these activities. And for that reason, we need greater capacity building to help overcome some of those challenges. Minister Assau called upon us to widen the circle, and I would like to echo that sentiment and called for more development of the other kinds of market-based activities that can help build capacity. For example, domestic emission trading schemes and domestic offsets, which are fundamentally important in building capacity for monitoring, reporting, and verification activities, which are critical to the integrity of carbon markets. Those are activities that will make it less risky for private sector to engage in emission reduction projects. And importantly, they will also help build capacity in Africa to participate in the carbon border adjustment mechanism coming out of the EU and other kinds of mechanisms that we might expect to see developing in the future. Now, finally, I would like to highlight that Article 6 also includes Article 6.8. And those following the Article 6.8 negotiations may have noted that there is now one non-market approach about to be listed on the platform. Our work at the African Development Bank on non-market approaches suggests that they have the potential to generate climate benefits in an equitable and cost-efficient manner. And I would like, in the spirit of widening the circle, I would like to invite the Article 6 IP to broaden the scope of their work, to start looking at this Article 6.8 and explore all options on the table in addition to the market-based approaches. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. And we are now reaching to the closing sessions. So thank you very much, all speakers, and for encouraging the message. So as a closing statement, we would like to invite Yutaka Matsuzawa, Vice Minister for Global Environmental Affairs, Ministry of the Environment, Japan.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, thank you all for joining us in this collaborative effort to build high-integrity carbon markets that will be pivotal in achieving our global climate goals. At today's event, we were able to hear about the progress made towards the implementation of Article 6 of the Paris Agreement through the activities of the Partnership Center in Bangladesh, Nigeria, and Tunisia. In each country, we heard about their efforts to establish authorization systems and develop human resources through participation in various training programs at the A6IP Center. While facing challenges such as the development of domestic institutions and the training of experts, we heard about strong will of further cooperation by Germany, New Zealand, and UK as capacity building supporters. We hope to use today's event as an opportunity to strengthen and expand further partnerships for high integrity carbon credit in the future. We were also able to hear about the result of our collaboration with our strategic partners, the UNFCCC Secretariat, the World Bank, and African Development Bank. Japan will continue to make every effort to promote and expand the cooperative approach through support and collaboration with the Paris Agreement Article 6 Implementation Partnership. Finally, we must reach consensus on entire Article 6 agenda, including environmental integrity, transparency, and other elements for high integrity carbon credit. Under the orchestration of New Zealand Minister and Singapore Minister at COP29. And I appreciate in advance that A6IP will take a crucial role in implementing Article 6 and will go with all partner countries for achieving 1.5-degree goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Minister Matsuzawa. So we believe today's session is very encouraging for further implementation of the Article 6, and we hope we can, we must finish the Article 6 negotiation this week. So thank you very much for all distinguished guest speakers, participants. So we finish, I think, a little bit early. And so I think that you can use this space for further communication and also get to know each other for your network. So thank you very much for, again, everyone. So we will close today.